Last month, there was this incident where the Indian national flag outside the Indian Commission, High Commission in London was pulled down. India registered a strong protest. Prime Minister Modi even spoke to his British counterpart Rishi Sunak over this issue. Now you have this report, which some might say is practically being endorsed by the UK government, which not only says that the promotion of Khalistani ideals is not itself subversive, it then goes on to say that the government of Britain must pay attention to aggressive Hinduism in that country because such nationalist movements incite prejudice and could destabilize British society. As I said, at the very least, this is very offensive. How do you see this report and the attitude of the British government?
As you rightly said, Neha, it is quite surprising to see this kind of wording. And definitely, there seems to be a deep-rooted bias in the mind of the person who is, who has prepared this report, who has been the Colin Bloom report. It is definitely, the bias is obvious, and he cannot possibly, I don't know how he could possibly have got completely unrelated things together. And it is really surprising that, I don't know how I should put it, that he's equating Hindu nationals identifying with their government or political Hinduism as being a threat to society. I mean, I found that really quite absurd. And also saying that Khalistan, the idea, what is Khalistan? Does he even understand what Khalistan is about? That he's saying it is not in self subversive. Of course, they're asking for a separate state. So how is it not subversive? So that is all very well, but and Islamophobia is being recognized, but Hinduphobia is not being recognized. As you so rightly mentioned, there are so many, the young children, the young Hindu children are really being targeted by everybody. So I think this report, in a way, at least throws or highlights different aspects, and the biases are quite clear. And even after this incident where they pull down the flag, if they are still saying that, or this report is being sort of, if the government considers it, the UK government considers it, even after this violent and protest and pulling down of the Indian flag, and they don't call it subversive, I think it is really wrong, and we need to really raise it with them and tell them to have their facts right.
One of the things it says is that the promotion of Khalistani ideals itself is not subversive. Do we need to remind the British that this is a secessionist movement that talks about breaking up India? Do we need to remind them that Scotland, in their own backyard, is seeking independence from the United Kingdom? Do we need to remind them of what's been happening in Northern Ireland for decades? What, according to the British, is subversive?
Well, Neha, that's a good question. Yeah, we need to remind them because it was a kind of, result of our reminders that somehow finally this report came. So they don't seem to be quite sincere dealing with these kinds of, hatred or those separatist groups, etc. Because finally, this was commissioned in the previous government, Boris Johnson's regime. But finally, this Collins report is here. And, it's a big document, around 222 pages. If you read, especially those pages, perhaps 121, 122, 23, etc., it talks about Sikhism, it talks about the fringe element, and it says that, okay, the government should take some sort of action, that's fine. But yes, if they talk about, Khalistans are not submersive, that's a big question. Anyone who tolerates or promotes or accepts these kinds of separatist movements or those those people who are pro these kinds of movements, it's not wise, it's not acceptable. And I think our government, as we are reminding them again and again, you're coming back to your question, I think they should keep reminding them. Only then perhaps using the diplomatic channels, etc. they should rather understand lately, and they will realize that this needs some sort of amendments. The thing here is there are many things. One thing is what is the Khalistani movement and how there is a fringe, as mentioned in this report, that they praise the Sikhism. Yeah, that's true. One of the biggest or respected religions across the globe, and there is a pocket there, according to this report, also that they are trying to bring damage, tarnish the image of the entire Sikh community, and that's why they want to take some sort of action. That is one thing. But here, what needs to be done. Another thing is that whether they are going to have proper action done or not. I mean, it's a recommendation. Let's say report is submitted, and perhaps they will have some sort of second round of discussions, or they will plan whether they are going to deal with these kinds of elements or not. Because what happened last month, I remember I was on your channel itself, and we had, after the Indian embassy got vandalized, that was something really shocking. And that time also we were quite concerned whether the government is taking serious steps to check these elements. But I think it's too late. But somehow the thing that I welcome myself is at least it's there, it's out, the report is there. Some implementation is needed, whether it's done or not. But your question is really, I mean, it's quite concerning to everyone and to your viewers as well, that, okay, we need to remind, which we should not be reminding that. There should be some kind of sense that should prevail, that, okay, what is right, what is wrong. Okay, I was listening to Colin's discussions on different news channels, and I realized that, okay, he says that there are different ways of keeping things in a democratic way. Every religion, everyone has the rights. That's true, very true. Democratic rights are one thing, but when somebody have some sort of intimidation or becomes the threat to the society, or something that becomes a big challenge, then it should be dealt with in a proper way, using the proper laws. And that also brings one thing here to my mind here, that when we have some bilateral relations, when we have international rules, when we talk about the integrity of or sovereignty of one's country, they say, okay, it's
Right.
our internal matter, etc. This actually damages the relationship as well, which in fact was expected, especially when Rishi Sunak is the prime minister. More of the positive things were expected from him, especially from India. But I think, we have to wait and watch what happens. But at least after 1 month of the, serious attack on the Indian embassy, which is in fact the attack on our own nation, which we should not, we strongly condemn that, and it
Right.
should not happen.
Okay.
Lately, I think they will come up with some more ideas, but at this moment, I take it positively, that at least something is there. Hopefully, something better comes soon. But I don't promote any kind of extremism.
Okay.
And here, in
Okay.
any religion, and this particular incident, and especially pro-Khalistani groups,
Yeah.
especially in Sikh there, in the small pockets
Right.
in the UK, this is a big concern, quite
It is a
alarming there.
concern, and the British government needs to take India's concern seriously. No less than the Prime Minister of India picked up the phone and spoke to British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak when the incident at the Indian High Commission happened. He gave Prime Minister Modi an assurance that these issues would be looked into. But clearly not much seems to be changed.